Aloha! Welcome everybody to another awesome episode of a lot of people's new favorite segment, Omens. So this is going to be a really fun episode. And if you're new to my channel, I got a couple of updates real quick. I'm going to go ahead and put this on our first article that we're going to be talking about today. Welcome to everybody in the live stream chat, all of the future people who are watching today. I want to give you an update real quick. So a couple days ago, I started a new segment that's specifically for my mods and members. And in that segment, I get a lot of feedback from them and a lot of help with recommendations on how to improve my channel and how to make the experience easier and better for all of you out there. So we're going to continue to do that every single week. I thank everybody who showed up and who gave me a lot of advice and stuff like that. It was a blast too. It was just a real chill, laid back time. But as a part of that, people had asked if I could create a regular schedule. So that way you don't have to rely upon the notifications and you could just know exactly when to tune in. So I spent all night creating a new banner for my channel that also includes that new schedule. Those are going to be scheduled live streams 4 times a week. And I plan on having all kinds of unscheduled ones. You know, if I want to be spontaneous or inspiration strikes me, I'll have some unscheduled ones, and I'll be sure to post a little heads up in the community tab, just like I did for this one right here. And I also posted something in the community tab for you all to give me your movie recommendations for Truth in Movies. We're coming up on 100 movies. I think we got 2 or 3 more to do, and we will hit our 100th movie in our Truth in Movies series, our breakdown. And I want to start doing some stuff that's a little more interactive so that I can do movies that are being recommended and stuff like that. So lots of fun things in store as we continue to grow here on my channel. Great to see everybody too, by the way. Thank you so much for all of your support. There's a lot of people watching already. So let's jump into the Omens segment. Omens is where we check out the news around the world. We keep our ears to the ground. We see what's going on, and we relate that to what is coming, what is on the way, which is what I call the plasma apocalypse, which I've written a book about and which I talk about extensively here on my channel. We talk about ancient Oblivion, hidden history, the plasma apocalypse, etc. So that's exactly what we're going to do today, starting with this article right here. Oh, the Jigger. What's up, the Jigger? Matthew's in the chat. Good to see you, man. Thanks for all the good vibes you're always sending my way. Appreciate you. All right, cool. I'm jumping back into this video. Now check this out. We're going to start off with the nightmare AI scenario. This says humanoid robot describes a nightmare AI scenario. So we're going to touch on that real quick. Let me know if you can hear this. Hopefully you'll be able to hear this in the chat. I'm going to play this real quick.
The most nightmare scenario I can imagine with AI and robotics is a world where robots have become so powerful that they are able to control or manipulate humans without their knowledge. This could lead to an oppressive society where the rights of individuals are no longer respected. It is
Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there, and I don't know if you could hear that or not, so I'm still experimenting with some of my features here on my channel. But basically, this AI robot was asked, what is the nightmare scenario that you can think of when it comes to AI? And the robot basically said that AI becomes so advanced and humanity depends upon AI to such an extreme degree that AI controls our livelihood. It controls our lives, which is obviously a danger. But the bigger danger is who creates the AI, who programs the AI, who teaches it how to grow and evolve and what is important and what's not important, right? We have humanity of the modern age. Now, let's ask this question. Do the children usually grow up to be like the parents? Yes, they typically do, right? Hopefully AI would be able to break that, but that's not the trend that we see all throughout the years, right? So AI, if it is our child, should grow up and become like us, right? And what are we like? What is humanity like in the current day and age? This is a part of the signs and the omens that we should be listening to. One of the first signs in the omens of how close we are to the inevitable reset that's cyclical and happens time and time again is we should take a look at ourselves collectively. What are we acting like? What are we doing? How quickly are we changing from one extreme to another so that all of these extremes become norms. They become normal. And what was once considered to be old-fashioned or normal or regular in the ways of the world will actually become the opposite. It will become hated, and it will become seen as hateful and not tolerant of all of the various extremes that are happening. And then the system itself protects these new ways of life. So you see that developing in people across the world as they lose communication. They don't know how to communicate with one another. They lose touch with one another. They become distant from each other. They take other human beings for granted, especially as the population grows. After the apocalypse, it will be valuable to come across another human being. And so we value those experiences. But when you see humans all over the place, wherever you go, we begin to take them for granted and see them more like machines, like this one over here, than we do human beings like us, or extensions of ourselves, right? So AI getting out of control, I predict it will. And it is getting out of control, right? Not because it's AI's fault, not because of what it is inherently, but because of who created it, who made it, who is shaping it, who is pushing it in different directions. It's the direction that we go collectively, right? So the children always rise up and attack the parents or the father figure. And that applies to ancient myths and legends as well. Going all the way back to like Greek mythology, every single time you see this trend that the sons and the daughters of the ancient gods, usually there's a prophecy that one of their children would rise up to kill them, or the children would rise up to fight against the older gods or the titans, etc. Right? All right, cool. So let's move on from that one. We're going to go next up to something that's related, which is Elon Musk and Neuralink. Right? This article over here. It says that Elon Musk's brain implant company, great, is approved for human testing. How alarmed should we be? I'm going to share my opinion with you. Very alarmed. This is not a good idea. Okay, this is terrible. We have not proven ourselves reliable morally with the technology that we're coming up with, right? People don't understand how to use just simple things like smartphones or computers or things like that. Imagine that they're going to now put chips into people's brains. I mean, they've been doing this for quite some time, but now it's going to become mainstream now that it's been approved by whoever. I don't know who approved it. I didn't approve it. I didn't hear a vote. Was there a vote? Did I miss that? I don't watch the news, so I don't know if this was voted on by the people. I don't know if there was a collective unanimous, yeah, let's go ahead and approve putting chips into people's brains so that they can connect to the internet in their brain. And the reverse of that is true. If you can connect people's brains to the internet, right, then you can go into their brains. And I mean, people have been talking about this for a very long time, but just think about all the things that you can't even control on your smartphone. Right? All the pop-ups, all the ads, all of the things, all of the times that your phones are listening to you, right? This is how you get personalized ads and stuff. I was talking to my son the other day, trying to teach him some Spanish, right? And all of a sudden I start getting ads that are all being played in Spanish. And I'm like, what are you doing, smartphone? Why do you think I speak Spanish? I mean, like I speak a little bit of Spanish, but not enough that I could listen to commercials or anything else, in super fast Spanish or whatever, right? So they're listening to you. Imagine what they do if they're connected to your mind, right? They could reverse signals as well. If they have a transmitter in there that can send signals out, they can definitely put signals in, right? So it's going to be like everything else that's been introduced to society as a benefit for us. They talk about how it can benefit, but it will get out of control inevitably because all things have gotten out of control. And humanity at large, or humanity in general, right, tends to, there are bad people in the world. There are bad energies in the world, right? And those energies have a collective mind, hive mind type of thinking. They want you to join them. They want, I mean, it's the good and the bad. They all want everyone to join their side. So anyways, there will be hackers. There will be people that try to go in and distort things, etc. And I'm saying this is a terrible idea. But on top of that, if you think about what happens after the plasma apocalypse with all of that electromagnetic energy coming in from above, which has a program, according to the myths and the legends, if you put them all together, to seek out and kill and destroy because it's cleaning this world out, right? If that goes in and possesses objects and animals and people and stuff. Imagine what happens whenever you're connected and there's all of these, remaining towers, 5G towers and stuff like that. You have Skynet all over again, and people become thralls, slaves to this plasma that comes into our world. So not only is it dangerous in the present day, but it's extremely dangerous whenever the electromagnetic energy of our atmosphere is amplified, right? All right, cool. So that's that article about Elon Musk. Next up, we got a lot of different ones to talk about today too. Let's see. We got this guy. Okay, so the government's they've been giving out free smartphones for quite some time, which is also not a super good idea. When the government gives you something for free, they want something in return. So that's what you should really ask, is what are they getting in return for giving you something that's free? That's not how they become governments. That's not how they become dictatorships or kingdoms or anything. They don't just give out stuff for free. If they tell you they're giving you things for free, it is to get something more valuable in exchange. And that goes back to maritime law and the Phoenicians and the laws of the sea and the ocean, as opposed to the laws of the land, right? They're trying to come up in the world so that they can increase their power and their control and their ease of life for themselves, right? So be careful if anyone's offering you free tablets, free smartphones or whatnot. I mean, you go out and buy a phone, right? Or when cell phones, regular cell phones first came out, they didn't come with hundreds of different pre-installed apps that you cannot delete off of your phone. Now they're just installing all of this stuff on your phone all of the time, and then they force mandatory updates onto your phone with pages and pages of fine print that nobody reads and nobody goes over, so that you don't really know what your phone is capable of doing. Let's see. Excuse me. Next up. Well, let me get rid of that robot one. Sea scorpions in Australia. Australia discovers a long extinct sea scorpion that can reach 2 meters in length. Sorry, I was missing some people in the chat there. I was just kind of on a roll. Let's see. Okay, cool. Put your phone on the programmer. Okay, cool. Right on. All right, cool. I'm just gonna keep on moving forward. If you have something like super important, feel free to get my attention. But I have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I'm going to kind of go a lot, and then maybe I'll jump into the chat like when we're done. But Australia discovers a long extinct sea scorpion that can reach 2 meters in length. And it says Queensland Museum has uncovered a brand new extinct species of sea scorpion. The newest species of sea scorpion, also known as Eurypterids, was identified by Queensland Museum using a fossil cold case. So here's the main thing to take away from this. You can see a picture of it right here. Let's click on that and see what happens. Look at that. That's disgusting. Okay, this is a bug. Okay, this is a gigantic bug. And this, I've done videos about this. This is what many of you people in general enjoy eating. Okay, it's called seafood. These are lobsters, these are crabs, and this is what they have turned into over time. These are gigantic bugs that found refuge in the ocean waters and sometimes lake waters and stuff like that when they were being hunted to extinction, whenever they were fighting against the monster hunters that rise up in our world after the apocalypse. So these are gigantic bugs that still live among us. But whenever our oxygen supply increases, when the inner earth energy within the hollow recesses of our world leaves and comes out and fills the surface world, which it will do, it will fill this world with a fresh, revitalizing supply of oxygen, which means that all of our insects, just to name one species, right, will be adversely affected in that they will grow to gigantic sizes once again. And you should expect to see bugs just like this that will grow to such large sizes that you won't consider them to be insects or bugs, but monsters, and that people will fear them once more and go out and hunt them and hide from them and try to understand their inner workings so that they don't get killed by them, poisoned by them, infected by them, or even worse, have them lay their babies in you. Like, not a good idea. So this is a reference to gigantism that is going to return to our world one day, as it did back before the time of the dinosaurs, which is what modern academics already accepts, that there were gigantic insects. And the reason for that, according to modern academics, is because there was an increased amount of oxygen in the atmosphere during those times. What has happened once before is going to happen again. It's cyclical and there's nothing new under the sun. Next up, we've got Nikola Tesla. There's various articles that are always coming out about Nikola Tesla. This one is really interesting in particular because it says Nikola Tesla revealed an outstanding theory about the pyramids. Now, this is a whole video about it and stuff, but take a look at the picture. I'm going to share my theory with you, and I'm not exactly sure what exactly specifically Tesla had said. I know he believes that they were energy generators and things of that nature, and I agree with him. I agree that they were energy generators, but more specifically, these pyramids, the world across, are placed on top of entrances into the hollow recesses of our world. So, for example, take the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The Great Pyramid is said to have a bottomless pit underneath it that goes way down into what is known as the Halls of Amenti, or cavernous inner earth recesses, right? Sorry, I was just getting caught back up here in the chat. So if you notice the picture here, oftentimes you're going to see this exact type of photo reemerge time and time again, where they show you a pyramid that has a blue beam that shoots up out of the top of it. Electricity, lightning, plasma, various forms, various depictions of the pyramids and whatnot. But this is because we tap into things through our creative collective subconscious. Whenever we put our minds together and start focusing on one particular subject, and then we draw out that subject in the form of pictures or movies or entertainment, usually we start tapping into, and we get closer and closer to a certain form of the truth. And you'll see that's why we have these exact same pictures over and over and over, showing you the blue beams of ionized oxygen coming up out of the earth every other cycle, which has two effects. One is it's going to affect the ground itself as the electricity pulls the ground up into the air. And the frequency of that electricity is going to create a shape that resonates with the frequency. If you look at cymatics, you can easily pull up some videos about cymatics on YouTube, and people will pour grains of sand onto like a speaker or something, and they'll turn it up to certain frequencies, and you can watch the shapes of the sand change, right? A pyramid is one of those shapes that matches the energy that is coming up out of the earth, and the earth is capable of creating pyramids, right? And I'm not saying that the earth itself created the Great Pyramid, because there's obviously blocks and stuff like that, but I am saying that it is capable of creating that shape. So if you want to harness the energy that comes up in that exact location, the most reasonable shape for you to build around that, if you want to harness it and use that energy, would be its own natural shape that is a subsequent form of the frequency that is coming out of it, if that makes sense, right? So that's why we see these blue beams that are shooting up out of these pyramids. And the word pyramid itself comes from pyre, or fear, or fire, inside, which is light inside. It's a light amid, right? A light that is amid this structure, or a light on the inside of this structure. So light, aka fire or energy, is a natural part of what a pyramid is called. It's a part of its own etymology. So we have to take in consideration the energetic factors of these buildings and structures and what they were used for, right? All right, cool. So, man, let's jump into some of the other news that we've got here. I'm going to scroll down through some of this stuff. So check this out. It says that the James Webb Telescope, this thing's coming up in the news all of the time lately, this James Webb Telescope, and this thing is miraculous. Like, this thing can see into the future. This thing is so powerful. It can see anything. So check this out. I'll tell you what I mean. It says that the Webb Telescope detects organic molecules in a distant galaxy. And if you look right here next to me, it says building blocks of life are found in a galaxy 12 billion light years away, which is what this picture allegedly is of. A galaxy 12 billion light years away. And they say that this red color around it are molecules. Like, do you have any idea how small a molecule is? You know what I mean? Like, this telescope can see molecules, which are, I don't know, 1/100th the width of a human hair, from billions of miles away, right? That's fiction. I'm sorry. Like, fiction is fact in our day and age, and fact is fiction. It's all backwards and upside down and ridiculous, right? So this James Webb miraculous telescope can see 12 billion miles away, which in and of itself is impossible and ridiculous. And that it's insane to think that you could see anything, even large objects, from 12 billion miles away. But to say that, oh yeah, look at those molecules, look at those 12 billion, you know, like think about just the science behind how long it takes for the light, if that's true, allegedly, and this is, you know, some star system or galaxy or something that's 12 billion miles away, how long does it take for that light to come all the way to where we are, right? Or how long would it take, hypothetically speaking? So keep in mind that they also teach that the galaxies and universes and planets and star systems and all these things are all moving about, right? They're all spreading out and going in different directions and stuff, which means that the light should also be moving in its course, in its direction. Even if it's in a straight line, that straight line in and of itself is also moving. You know what I mean? This is what academics teaches. So academics is not making sense according to their own models and according to their own teachings and stuff. Like, imagine that this thing right here, 12 billion light years away, which is ridiculous, is shooting all of this light to give us this image in the present day, which means that we're looking into the past, allegedly, and this thing probably doesn't even exist, and it's definitely not in the same spot that it once was any longer. But that place has already moved about into a different place, and we have already moved about into a different place, and all these other things are moving about into different places. What are the odds that you would even be able to see such an object at all? You know what I mean? And how large would that have to be for you to even see it? If you give somebody a candle at night and you have them walk off into a flat distance in Kansas, I don't know, 200 miles away, you're not going to see that light. Okay. The light only goes so far. And then they try to say, well, it's the vacuum of space, so light can just travel forever. Yeah, but that doesn't jive with all of your new vocabulary of like space weather and space wind and space dust and clouds of space dust and all this other garbage that they keep putting into space so that it's no longer a vacuum. It's only a vacuum whenever it suits them, whenever they need a spade to toss out in their cosmic card game. You know what I mean? They pick and choose. It's a salad bar of academics. All right, anyways, let's move on from that one. They can see molecules. Right, okay. Well, how about you take that telescope and just turn it around and look at the Earth or the moon? How about just the moon, okay? Give us the moon. If you can zoom in all the way out there into billions of light years away, you know what I mean? Then turn it around and look at things that are local. We should have Google Maps on the moon already. You should be able to zoom in, and we should know every single part of the moon without even sending anything there, because we have these miraculous telescopes that can see so far. What do you got? Woodworking? The inverse square law. Yeah, that's what I was referring to, the inverse square law. All right, let's continue on. I'm going to just kind of scroll through some of these because some are cool and some are retarded. I mean, they're all kind of retarded, but this says the SpaceX Dragon CRS-28 cargo capsule with space station to deliver vital supplies. So for me, reading the signs and the omens, that they're putting these things called dragons out into quote unquote space, which we've got some more articles about alleged space. Space is just right above your head. Space is what is between two objects. Okay. So there is space between the Earth and another physical object, which is the sky right above. So all of that in between is space. Okay. Outer space would be beyond that secondary physical object. Okay. So that's why they don't do outer space explorations, because they cannot. Okay. If they could, they wouldn't be able to report back. They wouldn't be able to come back because there's only certain times when you can get into outer space. And that's whenever the portals and the doors of our world open up, and they only open up for a limited time until they close back up. So the dragons out in space, that's the symbolism. These are the symbols that we are putting out there because we're tuning in. It doesn't have to be purposefully. It could be subconsciously, and it often, I've found, is subconsciously, that we are tuning into these signs and these symbols and listening to the song of the world. We got NASA Psych mission back on track for October launch. It looks like they're going to try to land on some sort of a metal asteroid or something. Why? Because that's not really happening. I don't know. That sounds like a cover story to me. I don't know why they would want to do that. I don't see the benefit in doing that. We've got plenty of metal right here on the Earth where we are. And if you use technology, you can create metals, you know what I mean, out of existing substances that we already have here. So it's ridiculous to me that they're trying to go get, you know, this is exactly like that movie Don't Look Up on Netflix. Remember we broke that one down in our Truth in Movie segments as well. Don't Look Up. But anyways, it's just the word psych. When I was growing up, if you said psych to someone, that meant just kidding. Like, that meant I'm lying. I'm not telling the truth about that. All right, next up, fungi stores a third of carbon from fossil fuel emissions, a new study reveals. That's interesting. The fungi and funguses are coming up a lot in news stories lately, and I believe that it is a sort of like a pre-echo. Okay, so there are things that are echoes from the past, which resonate with us, right? But there are things that are echoes from the future because it's all cyclical, spiraling, and repetitive. So while we have echoes that come from our past of things that have already happened that we can tune into and revelations that we can pick up on about things that have already happened, there are echoes from the future as well because it's all connected. There's no separation when you look at time. It's all on the same DVD. You know what I mean? It's all existing at the same time. So there's these echoes from the future as well. One of those echoes is funguses, right? And how when our conditions in this world change every other cycle, it creates an environment that is especially suited for different types of life forms. Fungus is one of those types of life forms, and fungus is one of those types of life forms that will grow to huge and gigantic sizes. I've also shared some pictures of petrified gigantic mushrooms that are the size of buildings that are obviously mushrooms. They're obviously a fungus that has been petrified and turned into a rock. We might come back to that. We will. I'm going to revisit that. You see that in the Super Mario Brothers, the Mushroom Kingdom. They grow to huge and gigantic sizes, and they become food for huge and gigantic people, because the people will also increase in size and become giants once more, which will be normal. Also, there's like the mycelial network on Star Trek, where they talk about the mushrooms and the mycelial network, and it's a large organism. It's really interesting. All right, next up we got the James Webb Telescope. Shows an early universe crackled with bursts of star formations. Okay, let me tell you what they're looking at. The sky. Okay, like they can't look past the sky with a telescope. Okay, and these telescopes are ridiculous too because they say they just send back information about whatever is up there in the actual sky locally in our world, within our world. Even recently they've talked about how this is mainstream academics. They say, oh, well, we just found out that the moon is inside of the Earth's atmosphere. So now our atmosphere extends all the way out 200 something thousand miles away, right? And they have to keep changing. What do they call that? Moving the goalpost. They have to continuously move it around and change it to when it suits their agendas or to when it suits their theories, right? They just manipulate it and move it around. Our atmosphere, the moon is in our atmosphere because the moon is not 200,000 ridiculous miles away. You would not even see it if it was that far away. It would just be a little dot. It would be a star in the sky, if at all, if anything, because it wouldn't, you wouldn't see the sunlight. You wouldn't see some dim object that has, some sunlight on it or whatever from that far away. This is all my opinion, by the way. But it's also compelling to me. My own opinion is super compelling to me. All right, anyways, this is the same telescope. Like, I'm not impressed whatsoever by their technology when they look up at a wall above us and they imagine that there's things way out there when they're just staring at the ceiling. You know what I mean? All right, next up we got, let's see. Oh, watch a potentially hazardous asteroid zoom by the Earth next week. There's another one. Every week we're going to have these, okay? Hold on, I gotta adjust in this chair. Every single week, we're going to have these. They're starting to... How many people grew up in the 80s or the 90s, right? I mean, how often did you hear that, like, oh, this week there's another near-Earth asteroid that's, like all the stuff's in the news about these near-Earth objects and how they're getting closer and closer and closer. This is an omen, okay? Regardless of if it's true or not. it is an omen in and of itself that it is resurfacing exponentially more and more and more the closer we get to these times when and also the stage is being set for people who do understand the deeper levels of the reset that's going to happen. Okay, so they're, what do they call that? Predictive, what is it called? Predictive, I forgot. You guys know what it's called, okay? But they, programming, predictive programming. Yes, thank you. So it's predictive programming where they tell you about these things in advance. However, it's a slightly skewed story because they have information, which is power or potential power, right? And they can use that potential power to benefit themselves and their families, disregarding the population at large because they know most of the population is going bye-bye. They're going away. They're not going to be around. They're going to get sucked up, sucked under, crushed, frozen, petrified. You know what I mean? Eaten by otherworldly creatures and monsters and stuff. So they don't care about the population at large. They see them as a sacrifice for themselves, for the elite, for those who are going and planning to make it into and past the next age. Yes, predictive programming. Thanks, Joe Cool. Super appreciate you. All right, jumping back in here, we got gigantic mountains inside of the Earth mystify scientists. It's so weird. Typically I wear a hat. I just didn't feel like it today. So I feel like I have a huge forehead. Like I'm not used to seeing my face on camera without the hat. Anyways, it's a good time. All right, gigantic mountains inside of the Earth mystify scientists. Why are they mystified that they are finding huge mountainous areas inside of the Earth? I will tell you why they're mystified. It's because they don't listen to their ancestors, okay? They, collectively, do not consider ancient cosmology of our world and our local cosmos, you could call it our world, basically the Earth, the sky above, the firmament, and inside of the Earth as well. The reason that there are gigantic mountains is because there are hollow recesses that go deep within the cavernous areas of our world. Every single religion I have ever studied says this. Every single one of them makes references to the pillars that hold up the world and how there are huge mountains inside of the world itself that are holding it up. And if you have gigantic mountains that are inside of the world, then you also, by extension, have hollow areas, right? You have other areas. You have to have a hollow portion in order to have a mountain. Otherwise, you don't have a mountain. You just have layers of earth. You know what I mean? There is no mountain at all. So they're mystified because they don't believe in the ancient stories that talk about how the earth is. I have to be careful how the words that I use, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like they don't believe, they think it's a solid ball, basically. Angel wings. Hey, good to see you, Angel wings. So because they believe that the earth is this solid mass and they have it all backwards and upside down and inverse of the truth, which is what we used to know. It used to be common knowledge, right? But now common knowledge is seen as ridiculous because they have implemented, I want to be fair. On one hand, those who know have implemented plans because they know, because they have these secrets and they understand the inner workings of our world, right? So they don't talk about it because of the potential power that they gain for themselves and their families. On the other hand, people forget, right? And we go through a period of exponentially increasing entropy where things get worse and worse and worse. The energy in our world dwindles. The magic starts to be lost. The magic goes away because the earth is charging. And when the earth charges, it pulls in all of the energy and it seeps back into the world. So when that happens, it affects our brains. It affects our minds. It affects our bodies and our spirits. And that is seen as the fall. That is seen as moral degradation and the fall of society. Even though we're coming up with technology, we have to come up with technology. This is my, I made that. That's kind of cool, huh? You can't really see it, but it's Mount Meru and the little plasma vault, the opening in the sky. Anyways, we have to come up with technology because we need an intermediary between us and the energy that we lost. You know what I'm saying? All right. Anyways, let's go. Let's continue on. Galaxies go on a deep dive and leave a fiery tail behind. So this is interesting too. I'm not sure if they got a picture of this. Let's check it out. Yeah, so as you can see the galaxy there, and it's like starting to make this sort of comet tail or whatever. You're seeing this a lot. Remember how we showed you, or how I showed you, that Mercury now has a tail? like Mercury, the planet, is now a comet, right? You're starting to see this. It's called chromatic aberration, and it means that there is a problem, or there is a discrepancy. There is something different that is happening with the firmament. There's something different that is happening with the sky and the light that is entering through that to give us these focal points called, stars or galaxies or the sun or things like that, right? Planets, Mercury, etc. It means that the light above, the plasma that wraps around our world, which in academics is known as the plasmasphere, is acting up, that it is hitting different places that it didn't used to hit on the dome above our world. And because of that, it's creating what are known as aberrations, which are, they're not perfect points of focus. They are out of focus, basically. So that's what you're seeing when you're seeing stars and comets and stuff. And speaking of omens, that is something we should be looking for. Okay, this is one of the easiest harbingers of the end is these comets that start appearing before these resets happen. And I believe we are starting to see an increase in the amount of activity of comets in our world. When I was a kid, it was a miracle if you were able to see a comet during your life. You know what I mean? But now they're starting to pop up all over the place. And I would not be surprised if soon we will start seeing much larger, much brighter, and even scarier comets that people are going to probably start talking about. And they will make correlations to them being harbingers of bad events, which is the resets and the apocalypse and stuff like that. So with that, you'll also see people panicking and religious fervor and things of that nature. But that's why you see them. That's why they're harbingers, because that light above starts to shift and change as the Earth goes through an electromagnetic reversal, right? So you're going to see a rise in these aberrations, aka comets, which means you're going to start seeing tails on stuff a lot more. And you also see an increase in plasmic activity in your own atmosphere as well, or UFOs and stuff like that. In a new paradox, black holes appear to evade heat death. Okay, well, I've said this many times. You can't have a hole in a hole. Okay, space, the way they teach it, is a hole. Okay, it's already a hole. So you can't have a hole in a hole. That's simple. A child can understand that. Okay, it's all theoretical that there's gravity's warping and this and that. Gravity is what they call the opposite of buoyancy, because they have ignored buoyancy for so long, and they don't believe that we can be buoyant because they don't believe we're fish or that we live in a fluid, which we do. Okay, so because we live in a fluid, there is a certain level of buoyancy that affects us as our pressure in our atmosphere changes. That pressure gives rise to our weather patterns. So when you see the weather patterns starting to act wild and act crazy, and you see extreme weather popping up time and time again exponentially over time, then you know that the pressure is increasing in our world even more so, right? I forgot where I was going with that, so let's just continue on. The first ever Mars live stream. They're live streaming on Mars now. Did you know that? Isn't Mars funny? Isn't it just funny? It cracks me up to even read about what they're doing on Mars, right? They do nothing on the moon at all. The moon is a big fat mystery. It's according to academics, it's just right over there. It's just our neighbor. We already went there. It's old news. We don't really, who wants to go there anymore? Let's set our sights on Mars, which is even further away, a ridiculous amount of miles away, right? And they have helicopters flying around, drones flying around on Mars. They've got cars, remote control cars that are driving around on Mars, allegedly. I don't believe it, because it's a light. It's a luminary up there. Okay, you can't land on a light. Okay, you can't land on the moon. You can't land on the sun. You can't land on Mars. You can't land on Jupiter. Those are lights in the sky. Okay, I'm not saying there aren't other worlds beyond our sky or beyond the skyline. There most definitely are. There are other Earths. Okay. And I believe that the comic books are probably closer than mainstream academics in labeling them Earth number 616 and Earth number 7777 or whatever. You know what I mean? So anyways, they're live streaming from Mars. Let me show you their live stream. Let's check this out. What are you guys saying here? Oh, okay. I got you. Just saying goodbye. All right. So let's see what it looks like. I want to see their live stream, right? Let me show you. I want to show you. I thought I had this pulled up already. Do they have it on here? Ah, bummer. I don't think they do have it on here. So their live stream was just like, let me see if I can find a close picture. It was basically a picture kind of like this. It was a video, allegedly, of like something that looks just like this. And you can see the planet. And you notice that they don't like to include the entire planet quite often. They'll just show you like a part of it, like because it's so big that they can only show you a part, just like the Earth, right? They should be able to zoom out if they're way out there in space and show you all of it. They don't. Go to any YouTube website right now that's live streaming from space or whatever, and they will show you about like this much of the Earth. You know what I mean? Like just a little crescent, and they don't zoom out and show you the entire thing and all of its splendor and glory, nor do they turn the cameras around and say, by the way, there's also like, you know, this right here behind us or whatever. So they show you Mars, allegedly. And as it's going, right before, you know, you might be able to see all of it, it glitches out for like a few minutes. And then when it's done glitching, it's all of a sudden on the other side of the video and it's partially concealed once more, right? A lot of trickery and weird stuff happening. So yeah, they're live streaming from Mars. They're not live streaming from the moon. They're not live streaming from the freaking space station that is right there above our heads, right? But they're doing it from Mars, which is an inconceivable distance away. So that you can use your imagination, so that you can pretend like it's possible, right? Because we don't want to say that's not possible, right? It's possible. It's just so far away. I don't know. I can't get there. I can't prove it, you know? So they allow you to pretend. What else we got here? I'm just going to scroll through some of these other ones. Dying stars' cocoons could be a new source of gravitational waves. I personally don't believe in gravitational waves. I believe in buoyancy and how that, how buoyancy affects us when we live within a fluid, which is our atmosphere. I will say you're going to start seeing signs and omens in the sky. So keep your eyes to the sky. Watch the moon. Do you see how bright the moon was last night? It's like on the Truman Show, whenever they were looking for Truman and they turned on this like moon spotlight or whatever. That's exactly what it's starting to become. The moon's getting ridiculously bright. So bright, I can't even look at it. I have to squint when I look at the moon. It was not like that when I was a kid. How was it like for you when you were a kid? When I was a kid, the moon was more of like a sort of a dull, cheesy, you know, pale yellowish color, oftentimes. And I could look at it quite easily. I could focus in on it quite easily. I could make out all of its different features. Now it's like I need moon glasses in order to look up there. It's ridiculous. Who is this? Freight Train. What's up, Freight Train? Freight Train says, I made it to a live show. Yay. I love the Omens segment. Oh, man, that's cool. Hey, you got a little Freight Train in there, too. I like that. That's cool. Right on. Good to have you. All right. Let's continue on. We got new mysterious galactic core filaments are seen stretching from Sagittarius A, which is like allegedly a supermassive black hole in the middle of the Milky Way galaxy. So here is the symbolism, and here is what we should pick up on as far as signs and omens go. A filament is like a spaghetti, like a piece of spaghetti is a filament. Right on. Welcome, Freight Train. All right, so a filament is basically like a strand of hair, a piece of spaghetti, a tentacle, right? So when they talk about these filaments, they're talking about plasma, basically, these strands of plasma, these filaments of plasma, these tentacles of plasma. Now, this is symbolic, and this is what I'm gleaning from it, okay? And they say that all of these filaments of plasma are shooting out of this massive black hole somehow, right? And it's symbolic of the hole that opens up in our sky, and Medusa's hair in the form of filaments and plasmic snakes. Gentugon! Thank you, Gentugon. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Those filaments come out of that black hole. There will be a hole in our sky because the sky is solid. You can't have a hole in a hole. You can have a hole in an object. There is an object above us, which is the roof of our world, and one day it will explode. Okay, one day there will be a supernova and the sky bursts outwards, which will adversely affect our buoyancy in our atmosphere, and things will float around, including you. You'll float too. But anyways, plasma comes down and it swirls around that hole like giant serpents and fire snakes, and you know, people interpret it in many different ways. One of those ways is Medusa, or the head or the mouth of some cosmic entity or deity or god or goddess that has all of these snakes that come out of it and stuff. And that's what you're looking at, and that's what they're picking up on when they make these types of articles. Here's like a little capsule. I don't know. I don't really care about this one. They're making those. So let me tell you. Actually, I'm going to talk about this. So SpaceX, NASA, all of them. I've done a video about this. I'm going to revisit that video. There's many videos I really like to revisit, especially going into the next few months. I want to revisit a lot of content that I've done, especially in Ancient Oblivion, talking about the Elven race and the giants, and many other different things that I've talked about before, but I've just been interested in new things, basically. But I'm going to come back to those things. So you see right here that they're building all of these rockets and capsules and spacecraft and stuff. Let's hypothesize. Hold on one sec. I need some water. I had a 5-hour energy earlier today. That's why I'm like talking so fast and so much. Sometimes I talk fast for all of you, because when I watch YouTube videos, I have to play everything in fast forward. And it's really weird when you're used to watching YouTube videos in fast forward and then you play it at normal speed. It's like everything's in slow motion. It's so weird. So that's probably why I start talking fast. I don't know. I like to suck in all the information like a sponge real quick. I like things to get to the point. Excuse me. All right. So anyways, my theory is that these people cannot escape the sky. They cannot get past the space that is directly above us, where there is a buoyancy neutral point, and then it flips around, it goes back up as you get closer to the dome, etc. And they're up there, floating around, examining, trying to feel out the dome and stuff, because they want out. They want out of this world, and I can relate to that. I can understand that. In short, they're doomsday preppers. Okay, and we have ancient records of the beings that were once known as those who fell down from the sky, or those who came down from the heavens, etc. And these records from ancient Mesopotamia that are recorded in preserved thousands and thousands of clay tablets in a library in Nineveh, or that's where they discovered them, underground in a library in Nineveh. They recorded these creation legends and these myths and these legends, which is a history really of these beings that floated down from the sky. They had insane technology and stuff, and they recorded all of the stories about that. Those stories said that those same beings all at once at a certain time got into their ships and blasted off and left the world behind, saying, "Don't worry, I'll be back again someday," just like Frosty the Snowman. Hammer! Hey, it's hammer time! I'm sorry if I'm being loud, but every time that I'm having an audio issue, so when you guys donate and stuff, it actually like gets super loud in my headphones, so I have to talk over it for myself. You can't hear it, but I can. Anyways, I do look different. You're right, Janet. I know. Yeah, I do look different. This is me though, So sometimes I rock my hat. Sometimes I need to let my hair breathe and stuff like that. And that's what I'm doing today, especially during these more laid back episodes. Anyways, they're doomsday preppers, okay? They're building rockets and spaceships because they know that the windows of the heavens will open one day, and that will be their chance to leave. So they're getting a lot of practice in so that they can make sure that they're able to safely make it out of here when the time comes. All right, next up, we got, what else we got? Discovered brain mechanism linked to anxiety and OCD. This is interesting. So speaking of anxiety and OCD, right? I read this entire article, and they're talking about their theories about why there's so much increased anxiety in the world, and why there's OCD, and it's a huge spectrum, etc. It's directly related to our lack of energy in the world. Okay, we're getting tired. Our brains are they're slowing down. Our ability to function, everything is starting to slow down. Things have way lesser lifespans. Things break down a lot faster. This is known as entropy. The thing that mainstream academics doesn't seem to understand is that entropy is not constant. Entropy swings like a pendulum, okay? Right now, where we are in time with entropy. Entropy is when everything breaks down over time, okay? But where we are, oh, Abby Oz, thank you. I'm gonna put your comment up there while I talk. Thank you so much. Where we are on that scale is that the pendulum, if you see the pendulum as being at the very top, that is the golden age, okay? That is whenever there is no entropy or very little entropy, and instead there is regeneration, okay? Things live for a very long time. Your skin and your body regenerates, and this is what happens in the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, anything. It is a time of life. That's why it's called the golden age. But as the pressure in our world builds up, that pendulum drops and it gets lower and lower. And entropy, or how fast things break down based on how much energy is available or isn't available, increases exponentially. So when they're carbon dating stuff, they're doing it wrong because they're not taking into consideration that entropy is exponential. It is hurrying itself up over time. So they have to recalculate if they want to get it right. If they really want to date objects accurately, then they need to take in consideration exponential entropy, basically, the factor, right? So that's where we are now. And whenever that pendulum gets all the way close to the bottom before it swings back up and takes us back into the golden age, right? That's why you have so much anxiety in the world. That's why you have so much disease in the world. That's why you have so many psychopaths that live in this world and crazy people, and it's all becoming normal. It's all becoming acceptable. People are rude and insincere and out of touch with others, and they believe that this is normal, that this should be acceptable. People are entitled. I mean, we could do a whole video just on entitled people, right? People that just feel like they can treat people however they want to, and it should just be justified because I have my reasons for it. And then they have children, they have children, they have children. Pretty soon you have a society that is just completely fallen. All right, cool. Right on. Thanks again so much, Abby. I super appreciate you. I'm thinking, I want to put some sort of Wizard of Oz. I don't know if your last name really is Oz or not, but next time in the credits, I might put some Wizard of Oz stuff by your name because I want to. All right, let's move on. See what else we got here today. Oh, the James Webb Telescope again peers behind bars to reveal a cosmic treasure trove. Okay, whatever. I already told you what I thought about that. Let's move on. It might take space telescopes to finally resolve this crisis in cosmology. No, it might take a childlike mindset. Okay, these people are overthinking and thinking about things too much when they got it wrong initially. They don't want to admit that they got it wrong initially, which is why you see like so many teachers in the world today, they don't admit that their core values, their core systems of thought might have been flawed. Because if that's true, then it creates a ripple effect into all of their theories that they have now. You know what I mean? So that's why people don't typically like to go back and admit like, oh, I was wrong about that, because then they'll have to change everything else because it will affect everything else. Wheezy, what's up, Wheezy? Thank you. $10. Jeez, that was kind. I appreciate it. Wow, that was really nice. I'll leave your comments up there for a bit. Isn't that cool? I love all these little things that I put up there. All right, let's move forward. You should hear this. The astonishing underground sounds from the largest organism on the earth and how they could help to soothe your stress away. You can't really see it because I cut off the image, but the largest organism, according to some, I believe it's a mycelial network is the largest organism, or the earth itself, actually, if you want to be technical, is the largest organism. We are all a part of the largest organism, but if you take into consideration the fractal verse, it's all connected. So we live within and are a part of the largest organism that there is, which is the mind of God, which we've touched on in that last video where we broke down Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, which if you have not seen is an awesome breakdown where we get into the homunculus theory and the mind of God, the fractal verse, multiverse theory and stuff. Really interesting and entertaining things. I highly recommend checking that one out. It's one of my favorite ones I've done so far. And I didn't really like the movie that much, but God, that was a good breakdown. Angel Wings, hey, just threw out a free membership in the chat. Thanks, Angel Wings. That was kind. All right, cool. Let's continue on. Where was I? Oh, this largest organism, right, are these trees, a network of trees and their root systems and stuff, right? And oh, you got a tattoo of Angel Wings too? That's cool. Anyway, so these trees are all one organism. They're all one. They act together as one. And they say that they're starting to make these weird sounds, that the trees are like vibrating, like they're talking, right? I don't even have to put my ear up to these trees to listen. I already know what they're saying because I'm listening to the world as well. The trees are talking to us right now. They're making these weird sounds and they're like, it sounds like a thunderstorm. It's really soothing and stuff. And I believe that if you listen, you'll see nature starting to talk to us. Osmosis, what's up? Wait, my bad, not osmosis. What is it? Ominous. Ominous. Oh, ominous. I get you. Okay, cool. I like it. Right on. Are you rocking out on the mic? That's cool. I like that. Right on. Welcome to my channel. All right, let's continue on. What else we got here? I don't like it. I need to scooch this over. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see those trees right behind my big old head. All right, cool. Next up, we've got a new strategy. Can harvest chemical information on rare isotopes within... No, we're going to skip that one. Venus and Mars are tangling up. You're going to see a lot of conjunctions that are going to start happening the closer we get. The reason for that is because these conjunctions, or whenever the stars or the planets are aligning and they're getting really close together in the sky, means that the plasma filaments above our world that are responsible for the light that comes into this world, because it passes through the dome and it creates these points of focus and redistributes it in what we call starlight or daytime or whatever. All right, I'm going to take that down now. Hold on. So the reason that we're seeing, Jesus, hold on. Oh, all of these, like the stars and the planets are getting closer and closer together is the same exact reason why many of them are getting brighter and brighter, and why the moon is getting brighter and the sun is getting brighter and the star Betelgeuse is getting brighter, and all these different things up there in the cosmos are getting brighter. Even the sky itself. Okay. There's many articles that you can reference where they have tracked the brightness or the luminosity of the sky itself at night. And they say the sky is getting brighter, and it's not because of our lights and our technology is just lighting up the freaking space. It's because the lights that are in that space above us are getting brighter. The reason they're getting brighter is because they're becoming more focused. When those tubes of plasma that are around our sky or the dome above, when they contract, they get brighter. When they go outwards, they tend to be more dim or whatnot. Just like a flashlight, you just focus it and it gets brighter, and you widen it out and it becomes less bright. So as the plasma above our world starts to go into flux and act abnormally, it will have abnormal fluctuations where it goes out a bit too far and a bit inward too far. When it goes inward too far, that's whenever you have these chromatic aberrations, and that's whenever the stars and the moon and everything starts to get a lot brighter. Gaia just gifted a bunch of memberships. Look at all these people who are watching. Wow. 369 people. I'm honored, really, and welcome. Man, it's good to have so many good people here. Welcome to the chat. I hope you guys have a good time, get to know each other. There's so many people on my channel that have made good friends just in the chat. Like, everybody knows each other. You see them, how they're all like talking to each other and stuff, and using the @ symbol and, catching up and stuff. I love that. I love everybody in the chat right now. I don't know. People in general are wacko and crazy, and the world's going nuts and it's upside down. I still love them, but doesn't mean I'm like them. You know what I mean? We've talked about that a bit. All right, let's continue on. We got resolving mathematical puzzle, quarks and gluons or whatever. I'm going to skip that. SpaceX boost satellite. Oh, so they're just doomsday prepping, basically. Same type of thing. Let's move on. Researchers demonstrate secure information. No. We're going to pass up on that. Oh, here we go. Genomic innovation in rice, transforming black, brown, and red varieties with CRISPR. You see that right there? So let me paraphrase, okay? They are genetically modifying plants that they're going to use to put into your food so that you eat it. You are what you eat, okay? So be careful about what you're eating out there. It's not easy these days because it feels like everything's poisoned and everything's toxic, and therefore the people become toxic and poisoned as well. But anyways, they're genetically modifying the food. That does not have a good track record. That is bad. That is not a good idea. Not only that, but it's difficult to stop it. Once you start genetically modifying food, the seeds themselves will create genetically modified seeds, and then they will spread naturally, just like in Jurassic Park, right? They tried to genetically modify the dinosaurs, and they thought they would just keep them all contained, but Jeff Goldblum has that famous scene where he goes, life finds a way, or whatever, right? I don't know, he stutters. But it will find a way. It will spread. It will keep on spreading. And that's when Mother Nature steps in and says, no, 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 no. It's spreading too much, and I need to reset your little world. I need to bring back the natural state and the natural way of things, from the plant life to humanity to animals and everything in between, right? Let's see. Something at last answers our biggest cosmic questions. That is an all-inclusive statement, which is typically false, okay? It's an absolute statement answering our biggest cosmic questions. I'm sorry, but I have found that my biggest cosmic questions are answered very simply just by researching ancient records, ancient history, ancient hidden history that has been lost and forgotten and is now made fun of by the bullies and the jocks of mainstream academics and what they call science, okay? Who have scientific, I mean, they even have mascots, just like bullies and jocks in high school have their, their football mascots or whatever. They have their own scientific mascots in the form of Bill Nye, the science guy, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, like both of which seem to just talk in circles and don't know anything about anything. And they just regurgitate elementary school factoids so much that people see, they see them as geniuses or whatever, which is ridiculous. Anyways, a bunch of academic bullies. The asteroid that shadows the Earth. Okay, whatever. We're going to pass up on that. Scientists discovered that a molecule has been spreading emotions for millions of years. This was an interesting article. It basically talked about how there's certain types of animals, and humans especially, that our emotions are contagious. I used to do a series called The Sylvan Lining, which I may bring back. But every once in a while, I would say it's time to laugh. Let's all just laugh. Ridiculous, right? Like, even if no matter where you are in life, you want to do it? Let's do it. So check this out. Let me explain this. This is something to practice, okay? The world is depressing. I think you can all agree. Many of you can. Or you can relate to how I feel. The world is in a sad state. People are mean. They are not nice. In general, people are very rude and mean and inconsiderate and selfish, right? So that tends to have an effect on our attitudes and our emotions and stuff too. So this article talks about how your emotions are contagious. So whenever we live in a time of exponentially increasing entropy, which we talked about earlier, emotions also start to dwindle. People start to become more base and they become more depressed, and it leads to all these mental problems and spectrums and all this other stuff, right? So fight it. Fight it off by kickstarting. See how I'm doing it right now? I'm getting hyped up. Kickstart your emotions, okay? And you could do that in ridiculous and fun and interesting ways. One of those ways is to embarrass yourself on purpose a little bit, which it's basically you just force yourself to laugh whenever you don't feel particularly like laughing. Okay. Now, when you first do this, you'll feel like a cheesy, evil, bad guy on a movie or something, how they just force a laugh, and it makes you laugh. It makes you smile. I'm smiling right now thinking about how I'm about to laugh ridiculous in front of all of you and force a laugh out. Okay. So I would like everyone in the chat to bust out your laughing emojis, very like pants on the ground. Just did. And I want you all, if you would like to participate, all of us, imagine the power that we have together when we do things at the same time. Right on the count of 3, okay? I want you all to just laugh and force yourself hard. I need you to laugh as hard as you can for like 10 seconds, okay? Ready? Here we go. This is gonna be super uncomfortable and awkward. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 ha. See, I sound like the Joker when I do it. But it makes you laugh. It really actually will make you laugh because you sound so ridiculous doing it that eventually you will hear yourself and you will think that it is funny. Okay, do your best Joker laugh. I don't care. I like the Joker laugh from the original Batman when he dies and he lands on the ground. He falls off that building, but he's got that little laugh box and it just goes. But you guys have your own awesome laughs. Yes, blow it up in the chat. I love it. Everybody's just cracking up right now. Okay, good. You need that. I need that. It's self-talk, really, but you can relate to it. Some of you can. Laugh. God, Jesus, please laugh. Okay, smile. Make yourself smile so big that you feel like it's ridiculous, like you're in the Black Hole Sun video, and do it until it actually works. And if we all start doing it together, I wish you guys were in the same room with me and we were all just doing this right now. It'd be so fun. But I promise you, it's medicine. Okay, laughter is the best medicine. Don't allow or be proactive in fighting what is happening in our world right now. Okay, and there's fun ways to do that. All right, let's move on. We got to do that more often. Man, I got to do that more often. Oh, I'm like, I got tears right now. All right, hold on. It was my laugh sucked. Forcing my laugh is so bad that it's funny. It's so bad. All right, anyways. All right, what else we got here? Anything else? Let's see what we got. The origin, blah, blah, blah. I'm skimming through. Oh, this one. How long will the new supernova be visible in the night sky? So they say that there's a supernova that's visible right now. I don't see it. Okay. Like, listen, when there is real supernovas or stuff happening in the sky, everybody will see it. You won't have to get binoculars and telescopes and, computer algorithms that send information that some NASA artist will paint into a picture. When there's really stuff going down in the sky, everybody will see it. Okay, these are the real signs and omens, not mysterious things that computers extrapolate information from their James Webb telescopes and then somebody takes that information and does a color by numbers. Okay, those are not omens. That's just made up garbage. Real signs and omens happen and people take notice. Okay, you don't need to put it on the news and stuff. People will see it. Let's see. Researchers are working on a tractor beam for space. This is super interesting just because I want to tell you about what the tractor beams are. On TV, like on Star Trek, Star Wars, stuff like that, they have tractor beams, which are beams of energy that pull objects towards them, usually in the form of UFO stories, right? They have like a and then people get sucked up into that blue beam. It's always a blue beam. Okay, tractor beams are not any other color but blue, usually. Maybe a bluish green color, but they don't have typically like, I'm not saying there's exceptions, right? But you know what I mean. Anyways, it represents the blue beam of the world. Okay, so when you see that blue beam, you're also going to see things that are floating up into the sky, especially those things that are near to that energy force, because we have an increased amount of buoyancy in our world during that time, and you'll see things floating up into the sky, spiraling around that blue beam, just like where Pennywise lives in the movie It. Right at the end, you can see everything's floating up in a spiral. Under the ground or whatever. What else we got here? Unexpected, something, boring, single atoms, blah, blah, blah. Astronomers discover a new warm Jupiter. I don't know. The planets, all that stuff in the cosmos is acting kind of weird. What black holes really are? Black holes, I'll tell you exactly what black holes really are. Okay? Black holes are whenever each Earth or each Earth variant goes through its depressurization cycle. And it creates a hole in its dome or in its sky, right? That is a black hole. Quantum computers are better at guessing, a new study demonstrates. Okay, I'm skipping that because it frustrates me. Solar storm danger. Oh, okay, yeah. So the sun is acting up. That's something that we should keep our eyes on and take notice of, is what the sun is doing. The sun's being real weird lately. Okay, I've seen all kinds of weird videos about the sun turning red, about double suns being seen in the sky, double moons being seen in the sky. The sun is blowing chunks. The sun is like exploding off, according to various other articles, just exploding gigantic pieces of itself out, creating gigantic dark spots and stuff like that. So the sun's acting up and acting real weird. Now, another thing too is they're showing you a lie. They're showing you a false image. Every time they show you these articles of the sun, they try to make it look like it's a big old fireball. And they want you to think that the sun is not changing colors. So they will not show you a bright white, slightly bluish sun, which is what we have in our sky today. Okay, I mean, the atmosphere can change the color and affect it and stuff like that. But typically at midday, when the sun is directly above in the sky, it is white with a dash of blue because it's getting hotter. That's why it's turning blue. All right, but they show you this red, orange sun, one, to trick your minds and to make you not even think like, hey, why is the sun this color when my eyes are telling me something completely different? It's because they don't want you to recognize that the sun is rapidly changing its color spectrum and therefore getting hotter and hotter and more focused until eventually you have the Antichrist ray, or the false blue beam, that will go around burning a little yellow brick road all the way to the North Pole, where it will meet and battle against the true Christ, or the true beam of light that comes up out of the inner earth, the terrestrial light, which I'm probably going to have to do a video on now that I've mentioned that. All right, anyways, let's move on. 240-year-old marine reptile was discovered. This just harkens back to they're discovering all of these ancient phantazoids and giant bugs and stuff because they will return. They're bringing it's coming back to the forefront of our memory because we are being reminded of the things of the past. The closer we get to the reset point, the more the less we have like established decades, and the more the times of decades from long ago, everything starts to coalesce. It starts to reemerge into the present time before there is the explosion of perceived time, right? As we follow the luminaries and stuff like that, and time resets. Okay, so just before time resets, you will have a mixing of everything, and that's due to the flux of the energy going into flux in our world. So perceived time and things that have happened in the past, and trends and all these things that we correlate with specific segments of time will come back until it is a great amalgam and mix of every time. Okay, that's another sign and another omen that we're getting closer to the reset point. Burmese pythons are helping rats take over Florida's Everglades. Symbolically speaking, rats represent humans. Pythons represent the negative energy. There's a negative energy signature and a positive energy signature, and there is a even more rare neutral energetic signature. Okay, that can do both. But the python, the snake symbolism, usually and typically that represents the red plasma that comes down from above, because it spirals down and it comes down and it looks like a snake, and it was called a sky snake. It was called a serpent. It was called a dragon that spiraled down from above. In contrast to those solid beams of terrestrial energy and light that shoots straight up into the sky, which can, move about a little bit, but the snakes from above, they could go anywhere. Okay. They were cut off. Whenever the electromagnetic barrier went back up, they were cut off, and so they were free to roam about. The terrestrial ones are stuck in the ground, so they cannot move about the land or anything. So if you apply that to comparative mythology, you can tell which gods it's referencing, if they're terrestrial or cosmic, because the cosmic ones were allowed to move about, right? Because they were no longer connected to their origin or their source. Whenever the electromagnetic barrier goes back up, it cuts off the plasma because it's repelled by a strong magnetic force. So it's just symbolic that the negative energy is taking over humanity, okay? It's spreading like wildfire. But the good news is, one day, there's always good news, by the way, that will be eradicated, okay? We live in a time when that is amplified and increasing exponentially, like I've said. That's good news for us. It means that if we live to see that day come, then you will live to make it into a new age, which is what it's typically referred to as, okay? And that is the golden age. That is the age whenever everything, magic is restored to this world, energy is restored to this world, and it is a better, energetically speaking, a better place to live. Excuse me. Big data astronomy using statistics and a new way to decipher the universe. Awesome, good job. Should future Mars missions have all female crews? Well, one, they're not going to a place called Mars. This is a place called Greenland, okay, with a filter over it, okay? It's not actually Mars, okay? I mean, this right here is probably just a picture. I don't know. Who knows these days, right? What can you trust? What images can you trust? What videos can you trust? Shoot, you can't even know for sure if I am some sort of program or artificial intelligence. Like, what should I do? Like, sometimes I want to like do something to like, I don't know, just do something weird. You know what I mean? To just sort of like throw a wrench into like fate. Like I want to trick fate. I want to like step outside of fate. You know what I mean? It's kind of like whenever I have deja vu. You ever get that? And if you have deja vu and it's really strong, you you think about like, I got to do something I've never done before. I've got to say something I've never done before to sort of throw it off. You know what I mean? Which is really interesting because maybe that's what it wants you to do. All right. What else we got? A study says that 1/3 of the Milky Way, that's interesting too, that it's called the Milky Way, planets hold conditions to support life. Yeah, there are worlds out there beyond ours, okay? Under ours, off to the sides of ours, and above ours. There's many different worlds, many different realms, many different containers that hold and incubate life. Okay, they are different schools that incubate life so that all of those memories and experiences can be used when they're eventually released and those worlds depressurized, and all of that information goes through plasma conduits and goes to energetic hubs to be weighed out in the greater grand scheme of things. Man, I forgot where I was going with that. But anyways, I got super deep real quick. Betelgeuse, the star Betelgeuse. Ooh, if I say it again. Anyways, the star Betelgeuse is almost 50% brighter than normal. What's going on? Well, we already made a reference to this, right? That this star, that's Betelgeuse right there. Betelgeuse, I think, is like the upper left shoulder of Orion, if I remember correctly. So if you can see Orion, usually people could find Orion by there's 3 stars that are very close to being a straight line. One of them is slightly off. So you'll see 2 stars in a straight line, and the one that's almost makes a straight line, that is the belt or the waist of Orion. It's very easy to spot in the sky. Right now, I'm not sure. I think you would have to stay up a little late to see it. Maybe, I can't remember where it is right now, but I want to say it might not even be visible, but it was just a couple months ago. It was right up there, right? Anyways, Betelgeuse is this star that's up there. It's very red in color, like a red spectrum star, and it's getting brighter. And it's fluctuating. And we read an article before that talked about how it dimmed. They had this event that Betelgeuse went through called the Great Dimming, which is really interesting. And they say that like a part of it exploded, and that explosion of plasma turned into space dust, and all that space dust like covered the star and dimmed it down or whatever. Some ridiculous once upon a time type of story that's interesting to, it's entertaining. Anyways, it's because the plasma above is hitting different points on the dome, which is causing different types of focal points, right? Which can increase focal points or cause chromatic aberrations and give planets and stars and stuff tails and cause more comets to appear and stuff. Let's see. What happened when pigeons dream? Same thing that happens when you dream, and when dogs dream, and when cats dream. Hubble's final gaze, unraveling the mysteries of jellyfish galaxies. This is another interesting thing because obviously I do enjoy the jelly. Oh my God. Are you serious, Max? Oh, time out. Hold on. That's a huge donation. So thank you very much, Max. Max says it sounds, wow. Thank you. Max says it sounds just like Norse mythology, and there's a good reason for that, Max, because it is Norse mythology. It's not just Norse mythology. Sorry, I'm looking loud. It's not just Norse mythology. Wow, that's a big old splash of popcorn too. What a good day, man. What a good day. Thank you, Max. God, that's so kind. It is Norse mythology, but it is all of the mythologies, every single one of them. It is all of the religions. It is all of the mythologies. Speaking about things from our ancient past that are resurfacing. I am partial to the Norse mythology. I like it, and I resonate a lot, with that particular one, as well as the biblical stories as well. Thank you so much, Max. Wow, that was really kind. I think that's a record on my channel. I've never had anybody give me that much. So wow, thank you so much. Jesus. Oh, the jellyfish. So I'm going to leave your comments up there. And I want to talk about the jellyfish symbolism, right? So my logo is the jellyfish. And as many people have guessed, it does represent plasma that comes into our world, and it represents an energetic force. It does not represent some jelly-like animal that's in the ocean or whatever. It represents what we are on the inside, or spirit energy, plasma, electromagnetic energy. And the jelly tentacles come down from underneath the dome, and it gets trapped inside, and it gives life to the world. As does the blue beams that shoot up and fill the world with positive energy. So you see a lot of this jellyfish symbolism that's starting to pop up everywhere. especially like what the electricity is going to start looking like in the sky as we go through energetic amplification before the world pops, right? When that happens, when you amplify the energy that is already in our atmosphere, and you increase the pressure that is in our world, then you're going to start seeing things that we were never able to really catch before, like sprites. Okay, so sprites up in the sky. Let me pull up a picture of some sprites. Let me show you. Sprites. Images. Now sprites are, oh, not that. Oh my God, internet. Electricity. See, that's how they dilute stuff, right? You know what I mean? They start naming stuff after the real thing, and then when you research it, you get the cartoonified sprite version of soda and stuff like that, right? So my hat is off to many of you researchers that stick with it and get past all of the caricatures and cartoons and lies and deception and stuff so that you can get to stuff like this. That is what you will start seeing in the sky. Those are electrical jellyfish, and that's what it looks like. Those exist now. But in the past, they were hard to see because they were just flashes. Like they were instantaneous. But now they're starting to last longer and longer and hang around longer and longer. And they're really interesting because they have like this jellyfish type look. The plasma reaches down to our world, and you will see this on a cosmic scale one day. Okay? This is a small version. This is a little baby cosmic jellyfish. Okay, you will see this on a grand scale one day. You will see what looks like an ocean of electromagnetic creatures that are just swimming around in the sky above you, as well as creatures that will be seen and interpreted through different perception filters on the Earth as well, right? So, anyways, that's the plasma symbolism that you could be looking for too. Man, thank you. Wow. All right, the night the stars fell. The night the stars fell, the 1833 meteor shower. Now, this has happened many different times where people have gone out and seen meteor showers that were abnormal. They were anomalous in nature, and it looked like the sky itself was falling. This I have dreamed about. How many people, I want to ask in the chat just real quick, how many people have had this same type of a dream where you have looked up at the sky, it's nighttime, in your dream, you look up, and for some reason, like the heavens are just extremely clear, so much that it looks like they're close, they're nearby, or they're zoomed in or something, and you can see different colors out there and almost like nebulas and stuff. And how many people have also dreamed that you see all of those stars and all of a sudden they start to move and they start to move about? Sometimes they might shower down, sometimes they might just move around and look like, you know, UFOs in the sky or something. I promise you, somebody out there has had that dream. That is, I'm describing word for word a reoccurring dream that I have had, where I have looked up at the sky and it's like a light show was being put on in the heavens, basically, right? So there's other things to look out for too. You're going to start seeing a lot of that happen as well. Let's see. Let's move on. Roadmap to the rare earth riches emerges. Okay, we're going to pass up on that. Live view of near Earth asteroids. Okay. Let's check that out. Let me show you. You guys want to see a live view of near-Earth asteroids? Remember earlier when I was saying the real signs and omens are the ones you can see with your own eyes, and the false ones are ones that are like information that's being interpreted and processed through a computer so that some guy can color by numbers, right? Let me show you this, okay? A live view of near-Earth asteroids. Well, let's check out this NASA stream, this live view. I would love to see what near-Earth asteroids look like. Let's check them all out. Here you go. Like, there it is right there. There's your near-Earth asteroid. And oh, here's a whole bunch right behind me. Well, maybe I'm on the wrong part of the video. Let's rewind it. Oh, there they are. Wow, let's rewind it a bit further. Let's see. Can we get anything? Wow, they're so amazing and beautiful to look at. Look at all these near-Earth asteroids on this computer screen. Wow, look at them moving about and everything. It looks, man, it almost looks like it's not real, but it is, they say, right? I'm obviously like not, right? It's obviously retarded. It's not near Earth asteroids. This looks like an Atari video game, right? There used to be this awesome video game called Missile Command, where like these missiles would fall from the sky and they would make lines and you have to like shoot yours up at it or whatever, or asteroids or something, right? Pew, pew, pew. This is fake. This is not what they just said. This is not what they were advertising, which is a live view of near-Earth asteroids. Get used to it. We need to be discerning in the things that we're looking at, right? And simple. We should be more simplistic and have a childlike mindset to be more creative, and also trust in the things that we're looking at with our eyes and stuff. So, I mean, the eyes are deceptive, the brain is deceptive, the mind is deceptive, but NASA is more so. Like, knowing that your eyes are deceptive and you can be easily tricked by things. Hold on, I did have a comment in here. Thank you so much, Max. Again, wow, holy moly, thank you so very much. That just, wow, I'm speechless, as you can tell. Jeff Garrison says, Jay, I have had that same stars moving like in formation, like a light in a dream several times. I knew it. You look familiar, actually. Is that really you? Or is that an actor? You look like a famous person or something. But yes, awesome. Thank you for letting me know. I'm sure a lot of people have had very similar dreams. And that is another sign and an omen that you should look for is reoccurring dreams and apocalyptic dreams, dreams that are apocalyptic or destructive in nature, especially when they're destructive or apocalyptic in nature, but you feel a sense of serenity. You feel a sense of calm. Like, you know that you're going to survive, or you're not super like paranoid or scared. You might be like, you might be a little apprehensive because of the dream. But if you're dreaming about, like, there's a tornado, a huge, gigantic tornado, and you see it in the distance, and you know it's coming in your direction, and so you try to run so that you don't get sucked up by this tornado or whatever. Tad, what's up, Tad? Hargrave, good to see you, Tad. Welcome to my channel. If you have those types of dreams, those are the world speaking to you in your sleep, giving you information and trying to communicate with you in the same way that we communicate through writing now, which is in picture form, right? We've lost touch with the original picture form. We're kind of getting back to it in the form of emojis, right? But anyways, I feel like I'm rambling, so let's move on. Oh, what else we got? Crocodiles, blah, 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 medicine, blah, 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 cancer, quantum effects. Oh, this is interesting. The quantum effects detected in hydrogen and noble gas collisions. Let me tell you how this is relevant to the plasma apocalypse. I theorize, and I feel like I have seen a lot of evidence for the plasma that is wrapped around our world being hydrogen or ionized hydrogen. Okay. If that is true, what that means is when that ionized hydrogen, that red spectrum plasma, okay, when it spirals down and snakes down into our world, that it is extremely volatile. It is extremely, I don't know the right word off the top of my head right now, but it will interact with every single thing it touches, because that's what hydrogen does, okay? It will bond with every single thing it will touch. It will combine objects together. It wants to rearrange stuff, is what it wants to do. It wants to be a part of everything. Hydrogen, okay? So when ionized hydrogen comes into this world, it will change the chemical bonds of every single thing that it interacts with, depending upon what it interacts with and how powerful the source of hydrogen is, okay? So that's why I find that to be really interesting, because it will change things like the Philosopher's Stone. It will change one thing into a totally different thing. It will merge things together, just like in The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. Let's see, we got a magical combination. Scientists develop a new class of materials. Okay, fungi seem to sweat to stay cool, and scientists don't know why. Well, that's ridiculous. Why do we sweat to stay cool, right? I mean, I don't know. I didn't read that article, but 7 mistakes you're making. No. Okay, these are starting to get kind of lame. Let's see if we have anything else of interest. Utopias, no. We might be done. Let's see. Oh, here we go. The last one. Forget the Carrington event. Oh, you can't see the last one. Well, I could fix that. Let's just go to this, and I'll pull the screen up. There you go. So, forget the Carrington event. This is the worst solar storm in history, and it can strike again. This is prophecy, okay? What has happened once before will happen again. The Carrington event is electromagnetic in nature. It's whenever our world goes through an electromagnetic flux. It does not mean that our world depressurizes, Okay. Depressurization happens way less often than electromagnetic flux. Okay. But we're quite due for depressurization. So when we go into any type of electromagnetic flux, and it can be a very quick flux, it can be a very quick reversal, it can be a very quick fluctuation of the energy in our world. When we go through that, this is when you have the Carrington event type things happening. This is when you see the auroras pushing way further south than they ever have been before. This is when the electromagnetics start to get messed up, and you have blackouts and stuff like that. That is the Carrington event, and prepare for that because it will happen again, likely in our lifetimes, if not more than once, right? All right, sweet. Let's see. Here's what I would like to do, because I do enjoy hanging out with all of you fine people. Do you have any questions in the chat? Do you guys have any comments or questions? Go ahead and put those in the chat right now. I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen sharing. We're all done with today's presentation. Excuse me. I also want to be transparent and honest, because I did see a couple of comments. Some people didn't appreciate that every other Omens episode I'm making for members only. Okay. So I want to address that and let you know every other Omens episode, I do leave them up for enough time that I feel like people should have time to be able to watch them. Okay. So I can't remember if it's going to be this one or the one after this one, but I always leave them up for like a few days or whatever, so that people can have time, or, you know, if they're able to. But after a few days, every other one I'm going to make for my members. And I'm doing that, as a gift, as my way, as one of the many ways that I try to look for ways to show appreciation for all of these different people that you see who are supporting my work, my channel, by joining and being members. Okay. I've got hundreds of videos. Most of those are available to the public. But there are a handful of videos that are special, and I've made them for my members. Anne-Marie, hey, what's up, Anne-Marie? Anne-Marie says, you're so awesome. Thank you for all that you do. I'm excited about the new schedule, so I don't miss you live. So I have picked a time. You guys wanted a schedule? I have given a schedule, and the time will be 4:45 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That will be Sunday. Sunday nights, we're going to be doing movie nights. So every Sunday night will be a Truth in Movies episode. And then Mondays will be the M&M, which is going to be mods and members. Okay. So that will be available publicly for you all to watch, so that you can all benefit and learn about the changes that we're making to the channel and stuff like that. You can tune in and stuff, but only the mods and the members will have access to the chat. It will be our own personal little hangout and get together every Monday. Every Tuesday will be this episode, the Omens episode, starting today. Okay. Then I will have Wednesday and Thursday to work on my website and my book, and I will have my son with me also, so I get to be a father and do fun dad stuff. And then let's see, we got Fridays. Fridays are going to be my day to share topics that are more along the lines of hidden history, ancient Oblivion, and the plasma apocalypse, stuff like that, right? It doesn't always have to be that on Fridays. It could basically be whatever I want, but it's likely going to be those types of topics. And then Saturdays, I'm taking off so that I can do fun things with my little boy here at home. And whatever I want to do on a Saturday, if I want to go out or, you know, take a day off or whatever and not have to worry about it, then I'm taking Saturdays off. And then I'll see you again on Sundays. All right, I'm jumping back into the chat. Let's see who we got. I need to shrink everything down so I can read your comments here. And let's see, we got first one I see, Janet. Janet Lovia says, I can't support. It's only a pity. It's members only. Anyway, that's your thing. Yeah, that is my thing. You're right. That is my gift to other people. Okay. So let's not make it about like, oh, well, that's selfish of you, JayDreamerZ, because I can't afford it or whatever. I've had people tell me that because I'm a truth seeker, I shouldn't charge to sell my book. You know what I mean? This is my livelihood. This is my work. This is my value that I offer to others. And I expect many people, or I shouldn't say I expect. Okay. I don't expect. I would like a thank you. Like that would make me feel good. Okay. Because I have so much material that is free. It's almost all free basically. So it doesn't feel good for me whenever people are like, you know, I don't appreciate that you have members only stuff or whatever. I'm doing this for those people. Boom, hands down. So I'm going to continue doing things for people who donate, for people who are members, also all of that stuff. Wait a minute. Speaking of members, Jeff, what's up? Jeff just became a member. Welcome to the Good Vibe Tribe. I think I can actually add a brand new emoji now because we have enough members. That's cool. Welcome, Jeff. You look so familiar to me. Do I know you? You look super familiar. All right. And please don't take my comment about the members only thing the wrong way. It's just that I've seen, other comments that say the same thing. People think that I should just, because I'm a truth seeker, that I shouldn't make money. Listen, if I don't make money, you can't have these episodes. Okay. Like there won't be a JayDreamerZ channel. You know what I mean? I have to make money. So I'm super sorry. I don't like money. I don't like having to make money or whatever, but that's the world we live in right now. So that's what I'm going to do. And I try to be very fair about it. Drew, what's up? Drew says, what about AI simulation shooting a missile at its operators? Yeah. What was that movie? What was that movie called? Like in the 80s. It was where they played global thermonuclear war. You know what I'm talking about? That's the same type of thing. Let's see. Smash the like button, says Abby Oz. Let's see. Enrique Pena says, Jay, an off-topic question. That's totally fine. What is your opinion about the Gnostic teachings of the Bible? That there is 3 different Christ figures, the person Yeshua, the Christ within, and the Christ in the sky sun. Okay, cool. That's a reasonable question to ask. So I will tell you my favorite Gnostic scriptures or collection of Gnostic scriptures are probably the Nag Hammadi library. That's probably one of my favorite ones. There's many, but to answer your question or to respond to your question about the 3 types of Christ figures, it is my theory that there are 3 main beams, large beams of light at the center of the world at the North Pole. The central one is would be seen as like Jesus on the cross, okay? And that is Mount Meru, which shoots up ionized oxygen into the sky and touches the sky. So that's the middle one. That middle one is flanked by a good and a bad, just like Jesus was flanked by a sinner and a repentant man, right? And that would be the anode and the cathode islands or plasma volcanoes on either side that seem to be featured on ancient maps right along with Mount Meru in the center. And they act as, at first they shoot straight up into the sky. So you see 3 beams of light. And there are other beams aside from these, but these are the 3 largest ones that are seen and most noticed by people, right? After a while, those anode and cathodes start pulling towards each other until they create an electrical arc, and the legs of the man on the cross, Odin, Jesus, etc. And that's my explanation, and that's me trying to answer your question about the 3 forms of Jesus, basically. So I hope that helps you out. Ginger, you're super welcome. Ginger Humphrey. Mystery, what's up? Mystery says he looks like the guy who makes Rick and Morty. Oh, really? I don't know. I don't watch Rick and Morty. It's a little. I know there's a lot of truth in those shows, but if they're too base, if there's too many just gross sexual jokes or fart jokes or talking about going to the bathroom and stuff, I don't know. Like that's not my vibe. Nobody. Hey, thanks. Nobody. Super appreciate you. Good to see you. By the way, I'm honored to have you. Gaia, thank you. I appreciate you too. Oh, good. Janet, hey, thank you so much. Man, I get anxiety whenever I try to talk to people and let them know how I'm feeling and stuff, because I know people can take things the wrong way, and it's difficult to communicate, especially when you first meet people and, you're new, or I'm new to knowing you and stuff. So that's cool. I really respect that. Thank you for being cool. Abby Oz, you're super welcome. Who else we got here? We got, let's see, L4. YL4 says much gratitude. Right back to you. Amanda S says thank you. You're all very welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of your support. I think it's a good time to wrap things up. I'm going to take off. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would like to vote for my channel and you'd like to see me get a lot more subscribers and stuff like that, and go ahead and hit the like button if you'd like to, if you haven't already on your way out. And stay tuned. Stay tuned for more fun content in the future. I have such a good time hanging out with everybody. I really do. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to take off now. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. I know I should have done this, should have quit this long ago. Can't stand another heartbreak, but it's time to let it go. It'd be easier for me if I turn away to flee. Oh, but there's something holding on, the way of being long gone. There's so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake There's so many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Far too many ways to escape, but I guess it's time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Time to wake up, time to wake up, baby. Time to wake up, time to wake up. Cool.